Okay, so here we are, and what we're going to do this time is we're going to use the built-in accelerometer to have some fun things to do with our LED strip. So, you know, sometimes you have those, you see those kids' shoes where they stomp and you see the LED lights change based upon kind of how fast they stomp. And it's basically got an accelerometer type sensor in there, motion type sensor. And so let's see if we can simulate that with our microbit. So we're going to use our LED strip to do this. So we need to install our NeoPixel extension, and we're old hat at that now. Just click on extensions, go to the extension page, and click the NeoPixel block. We are going to tell microbit that it's going to have an LED strip attached to P0 with 30 LEDs attached to it. And that's really all that we need in the start block. Now in our forever block, we're going to do the hard work. So that's where we need to realize that we're going to need to have three variables, right? Again, we need the X direction, we need the Y direction, which is front back, and then we need the Z direction, which is kind of up down. So X is left right, Y is front back, Z is up down. So let's make three variables, and we're just going to make them all here at the same time. So we're going to make a variable X, we're going to make a variable Y, and we're going to make a variable Z. There we go. Now, let's set these variables. So let's go in here to my variables. See where it says set Z to 0? We're going to need three of those blocks. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to constrain the variation of the acceleration a little bit. So we're going to do a little math trick here. We're going to divide the acceleration that is detected on the microbit by 2. And you can divide it by 3, and you can play around with the numbers until you get the color ranges that you want. So again, remember in their input, that's where our built-in microbit functions are at. That's where our button is. Remember, it has a light level on it. It has a temperature sensor built into the microbit. So what I want is I want my acceleration. So let's go there, acceleration for X. I'm going to change my set that to X, and I'm going to divide this number by 2. Okay. And that's just to constrain my acceleration a little bit. So I get the colors that I want. I'm going to copy this whole block. I'm going to paste it in, and now I'm going to change everything for my Y variable. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my Z. Okay, so now what I've got is I've got my X, Y, and Z variable assigned to the acceleration for the X, the Y, and the Z directions. I'm dividing each one of those by 2. Now under my NeoPixel, I'm going to do something that's a little nifty. I am going to use this block that says strip shift pixels by 1. And what that's going to do is when I shake it, it's going to change the color of one pixel to the pixel that it was going to be. So 5 is going to become 6, 6 is going to become 7, 7 is going to become 8. Okay? And we're going to see that propagate through our LED strip. And how we're going to do that is again under NeoPixel. And if you click on the more, you'll see where it says set pixel color at blank to red. Okay? I'm going to drag that one down, and it's going to start at 0. But this little shift pixels by 1 is going to cause it to move each time, and this is going to run forever, right? So every time I shake it, it's going to change. And I am going to go back under my NeoPixel, and remember our little hexadecimal numbers? I'm going to drag that over, and instead of saying red, green, and blue as a number, I'm going to change those to my variables, which I defined above. My X, my Y, and my Z. Okay? And just to make sure that this does show up, I am going to put in my strip show, which forces it to appear. And the last thing I'm going to do is I am going to put in a little pause statement just to slow down the program just a smidgen so I can see it. Okay. So now what we've got is we've got a program that is going to read my accelerations in the X, Y, and Z direction. It's going to light up my pixel, and it's going to cause it to, it kind of looks like it'll move through the LED strip because I'm shifting the pixels by 1 each time in the forever loop. So let's download this. First, let's plug in my microbit, as I often will forget to do that. Okay, now I'm going to download it. And so if you're on the web browser, right, you'll need to download it and then drag it to the microbit itself. I'm using the app for this particular program. So now it's downloaded. Okay, and now the trick is that the microbit accelerometer is actually quite sensitive. So I am going to try to hold it really still. Okay, so now it's not doing anything. Now I'm going to drop it. And there goes my little LED lights as it goes through. And since it's now sitting on my table has a little bit of vibration into it. I think because of all the air movement and ventilation in my office space here at home, is that it's going to keep changing a little bit. And now if I bang on it, I can get it to change different colors. You can see as the colors go through the LED. And again, if I can hold it really still and get that acceleration down to 0, lights up, and then if I drop it, there it goes. Okay. So that's how we can mess around with the acceleration and use the accelerometers to change your LED strip colors.